All right, this is going to be Atlas's first time learning to lead. So he's kind of done this a little bit in the pasture you've seen before. But this is going to be first time in the round pen. I'm just going to grab underneath the halter on the knot. I'm going to hold, and then I'm going to release as soon as he steps forward. So I'm just holding the little knot where you would place the snap of your lead rope, not putting my fingers through it. I'm just going to grab onto it like I'm grabbing the handle of a stick. And then I'm going to let go as soon as he moves forward. So he's done this in the pasture a couple times. I showed that in another video, but today we're really going to work on it a little bit more. Here he's just a little confused. He understands like I'm supposed to do something with my legs, but he's not super sure that it's go forward. So I do speed up the parts of where he's eating because it could get a little long. So some of it's going to be sped up, but I'm just going to start asking him to go forward first, and then we'll start doing side to side and possibly a little back up. I'm not sure if I put that in here or not. So I'm just going to start in the halter. So if he gets really worried, then I can let go. It's not a big deal. And I don't necessarily do this with every horse, but with Atlas, he is really afraid of ropes. So I'm not going to add in that other scary thing for him. So here I'm just going to hold out to the side, and then that was very nice. He crossed over, I let go. As soon as he moves, I click and let go at the same time. And there he kind of got scared of me moving my hand, I think. So I'm just gonna go back to what we were doing. Very nice. So I'm just teaching him to follow the feel of that halter, forward and over. So you can do it with a lead rope too. For Atlas, he's really afraid, which you'll see in the next video, of like him seeing the rope going from the halter to like my hand. That's really scary for him. So you can see in the next video why I started off doing this instead. But it just kind of breaks it down a little bit more for him. Not all horses need it. This worked out well for Atlas, so that's why I'm doing it. Now, it's very important that you don't stick your finger or your hand around the halter, like underneath it between the halter and the horse, or through the loop or anything, because if he were to leave, we would have issues. So I'm just holding on like I'm grasping something, and he's kind of trying to figure it out there. He was a little stuck, and I just kind of had to hold on to it till he figured it out. So then that way I can just let go with my hand. No fingers are caught, no hands are caught, no big deal. So I'm just kind of moving him for the camera so we can see a side-on version here. I'm just giving him a minute to just hang out. I'm just going to go forward. Very nice. So I'm kind of adding a couple more steps. And so he took like 3 or 4 good steps there. I'll click him and feed him. So I want to start with just 1 good step forward, then 2, then 3, and so on until I can lead him around. So this video really shows that process, why I had to speed it up a little bit. It can be a little bit repetitive. So I'm just going to wait. He thinks like maybe pick it up a little bit, but not really do a step. So I'm waiting for that full step, and then I'll let go. See, I'm laughing about it because I'm like, he trying to figure it out, but he hasn't quite gotten it yet. There we go. That's much better. He kind of freed up his feet a little bit and moved forward. There we go. Much better. He figured out that it was like doing something to do with his feet. He just wanted to kind of pick up those front feet. And then that time he really used his back feet and took strides forward. So this is much better. He's really understanding that I want him to walk forward from the pressure, not just move his front feet up. So now I'll kind of go the other direction. He hasn't gone this way yet. Very nice. He just takes that 1 step over. And I'll click and release and go ahead and feed him. Ask again. Very good. I'm just breaking this down little pieces for him. And you'll see with Castor, I don't do this with him. I do a little bit different version. Each horse is different, and they go at a different pace. So Atlas needed to go a bit slower and break things down a bit more for him, where Castor didn't. Which worked out really well because I got to learn 2 different kinds of horses, and you get to see the 2 different training methods I used. So I'm just going to ask him to back up, or not back up, back over to the side, which he did well with. And I kind of like to mix it up from the beginning. That was very nice. I don't want to ask for too much, like 1 step forward, 1 step backward, 1 step to the side. But once he kind of understood, okay, go forward, then I started going to the left and then to the right, and kind of mix all of that in there, because that's what leading is going to be like. Looks good, and he does kind of know to move away from me a little bit. He knows how to yield his hindquarters, so he has moved away from the whips on the ground, so he does have some of that training built in. So there, I kind of slipped out of my hand, not a big deal. He's a little worried. I'm just asking him to kind of move over here, and he thinks maybe I'm going to move forward. See it there. Take some steps kind of toward me. That was better. I'm just going to wait for him here. He kind of wanted to go forward versus like step across and come toward me. And he was kind of bracing on me there, so I just waited till he softened. So I start doing that kind of stuff on the ground, which I'll later do under saddle. So there, I just kind of flexed his nose toward me, and then I'm going to click and feed. Now, if your horse is a lot quieter than Atlas and, wants to be more like, I don't want to do it, and then they just want to pull away, doing this is probably not going to work the best, because then you don't have that rope to hold them and teach them not to pull away. So I would definitely not recommend this method for that type of horse. Atlas is not that type of horse. He's scared. So he's not like, oh, I don't want to, I'm just going to pull and go wherever I want. He just didn't understand, and he wasn't real thrilled with the lead rope, so we went with this instead. So I'm trying to get him to back up. I'm trying to get him to target my hand to back up, because I usually have like a treat, or I'll hold the target in my hand. There, he figured it out. He leaned back, and I'll take that, because he hadn't taken a backup step yet, so that was decent. He didn't panic. He rocked his weight back, so not too bad. I'll hold. There we go. Got a step. I'll click and reward him. Okay, so I left. I had to get some more hay, and I just cut that part out. So work on the back up a little bit more. He's going forward, so I'm just going to wait. He's just lifting his foot. There, he shifted his weight back, so I'm going to click and feed. And he's just trying. He's just guessing at this point. He's not real sure what I want. I'm just going to hold. And it was a backwards motion. His front leg went more up than anything, but he was trying. So this is the beginning. We're going to reward for trying. That was a much better, nice backward step. So he's going in the right direction. He's understanding it. So that's all we can ask for, really. But he's staying nice and relaxed the whole time. Not too worried so far. So this seems to be working pretty good for him. Ask again. He got the backward step. He wanted to really pick his front foot up, but he'll figure it out. I'm not too worried about that. Now I'll mix it up, ask him to go forward. He's got that front foot part down, so he'll do these little baby steps with his front feet, so I'm clicking when that hind foot comes forward. So he's not thinking it's just a front foot movement. So again, he's kind of parking out here instead, so I'm just going to hold and wait. And then once that hind foot comes, there we go, click him and feed him. Because he's just not super sure what I want. So that's why I'm waiting. I'm not continuing to reward. There we go, much better. I'm not rewarding just that front foot movement, that not really pawing, but almost pawing movement. I don't want to continue rewarding that. But kind of moving out to the side, not too bad. And then this will desensitize him too to my arm being there, so he'll have something coming from his halter to me. It's just my arm, but it'll do a little bit of desensitizing. And I'll break that down in the next lesson. Very good. Now he's kind of freeing up going forward, and he stopped off of the halter pressure too, so that's really nice. Ask him to come to the side again. Much better. He's walking forward more relaxed. He's not quite as stiff. Kind of got locked up a little bit there. There we go. I had to move the camera. So he's kind of moving forward a little bit better. He'll go forward more willingly, and then he'll kind of stop, but at least he's not just kind of picking up his front feet. Just going to hold him. There we go. I'm trying to add a couple more steps to this. So he takes one good forward step, and then he kind of locks up after the second, so I'm trying to get 3 or 4 from him. Because for Atlas, I really didn't want a lead rope on, and then he gets scared, he sees the lead rope, he pulls away, and then he just runs off because he sees the lead rope dragging, and he's just terrified. So when I got him, I didn't have him haltered, didn't have the lead rope on him, so he has a fear of that rope which makes sense. It's scary. It seems like it's chasing him. So we'll work through that in stages. I'll have him go the other way. Much better. He's really getting that side to side figured out. Like if you're doing this and your horse is really just not understanding that front walk forward movement. So there he wanted to kind of go the other way. So I know I don't have a lead rope to kind of bring him back. So I'm just trying to yield his hindquarters, bring his front end back to me, and then try again. So I'm trying to build this up to where he'll go forward. But if your horse really doesn't want to go forward, I would start by just going from one side to the other side to kind of free up his feet and figure out that what you want is moving forward from the pressure, and then try doing the forward if your horse gets stuck going forward. So Atlas wasn't too bad with that. He figured it out pretty good. But he would just get moments where he would just be like, oh my gosh, and he would just think too much, like the pressure, he would just couldn't deal with it. He would just be like, oh, there's too much pressure, and then he would just lock up. So he didn't really have that just like ignoring you kind of shut down. So he's a little sticky, but this is his first time, so it's not going to be super great. He gets much better in the next video. Reward him for that little step. He's thinking about it, but he's still kind of stuck in his little pawing. Not super sure that I mean go forward. So I'm trying to get his hindquarters forward. There we go. And actually take a nice big step from behind. So he's got the sideways down pretty good. Still a little confused. There we go. That was better. Ask him again. See if I can get a few steps from him. He still really wants to travel with those front legs, and then his hind legs just kind of catch up eventually, but he's getting better. I'm just going to kind of go with him. There we go. So I don't want to just walk forward and drag on him. I want to kind of go with him and help him figure out the pressure. So there's still pressure, but I'm just going to not just stand behind, like way in front of him and pull. I'm going to kind of go with him and keep that pressure constant, but not too much either. I'm just going to ask him to back up. He's thinking go forward, so I'm just going to kind of hold that gentle pressure. I'm like, no, that's not what I want. And there he took a nice step back and figured it out. He really thought through that one pretty good. He was like, oh, maybe go side to the side, maybe go forward, maybe go to the side again, and I'm just going to wait and hold, and there we go. Very nice back up. So I'm just going to end on that note, and we'll try again tomorrow.